there, hacking into this video to let you know that the following video contains some spoilers for the game I'm Scared, along with a handful of other My Madness Works games, along with some Greek mythology. Ooh, I wonder how that's gonna come into play. But yeah, if you want to avoid spoilers for those, go play the games and come back. We'll all still be waiting here. Go on, shoot. And as for the rest of you, enjoy the video.
Hello everybody, my name is Markiplier and welcome to Let's Play I'm Scared!
I'm scared.
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 I'm scared. I'm scared.
I'm Scared. Now that's a name I'm sure you haven't heard in quite a while. Or this may be the first time you're even hearing it, thanks to YouTube's world infamous algorithm. Either way, welcome. I'll be your YouTuber for the next 50 minutes. Get some snacks, a drink, because this may take a while. This video is going to serve as not only a delve into the sequel of I'm Scared that you didn't know was coming, but also accounting the stuff linked to it that has already come out, including I'm Scared's mini ARG. But before we get to that, I'm sure you'll need a brief refresher on what I'm Scared even is in the first place. So, I've brought a special guest, who you may already know, who actually inspired this video somewhat, to give a brief explanation of what I'm Scared itself is. So without further ado, over to them.
Hey everybody, it's your favorite stock and crypto advice YouTube channel, Toadbop. Thanks again Malory Malicious for having me on the channel. I made a video about I'm Scared like about a year or two ago, but I didn't really delve into anything beyond the initial game, so I'm definitely hyped to be learning more about the base game and the upcoming sequel. But before all of that, as she just said, let's first delve into I'm Scared, as you may know, is an indie horror classic, heavily utilizing fourth wall-breaking gameplay, one of my favorite ways that a game can mess with you. This is due to how unexpected it can be, and how much more it brings you into the horror of the game. It was initially released in 2012, with an expanded full release on Steam in 2016. You play the game while the antagonist WhiteFace, a lonely entity trapped within, also plays with you. They try to keep you playing so it won't be alone, while stalling your progress due to its fear of you killing it. Eventually, after progressing through a basement, a maze in a train station, a house, and some other locations, you are presented with two choices. You can befriend WhiteFace by giving them a flower, which would then reset the game, or you could leave through an exit door. Truly a dilemma. I mean, who wouldn't want to befriend the spooky floating head who is sometimes a completely different person? To be able to beat the game and end its curse, you would have to leave through the door, and after a handful of loud-ass jump scares, you find their heart. Deleting it ends up killing them, no surprise, but frees them from the curse in the process. Poor fella's been trapped in a 2012 indie horror game for years. This, however, would put you by yourself in the game, leaving you to be the one wandering in the loneliness, much like WhiteFace was before you.
That was I'm Scared for quite a few years, and while I'd love to dive right into talking about the upcoming sequel, there is a lot of build-up I need to get through first. So, let's get right into it, starting with the test build had quite a bit of build-up. The year was 2022. And Ivan was tweeting quite a bit of progress of the remake pretty much every day for about a year almost. But then on his birthday, in 2022, he released it, the test build. Almost serving as a demo, recreating the original 2012 version in length, though it would end up being more than that. Playing through it, one thing that would be clear to notice is the new video from the street, starting the same as the old one, before glitching into something else.
How to play with a dead game. Check the games folder for a new file called Drift. Search for the moon.
This new video is alluding to something that is hidden within the test build, so let's get to that. Skipping ahead to the end, we can notice a file show up in the flash room. Opening it reveals that it needs a password. this password being the initials of the red text from the video. Revealing the password is sure. Saving this and returning to the game, the fog turns white and a door unlocks, revealing a staircase, where you're prompted to zoom to collect moons. Collecting them all then changes everything to darkness, along with changing the visual style, dithering it and adding borders. Almost reminiscent of IMSCARED 2012 looked. Heading down, the rest of the way is blocked, apart from one door now being unlocked, leading you to a new area. The Archive. Here you can find numerous items related to the game, ranging from unused content, memorable items, and this statue. Another puzzle lies here, as a file is created to give you instructions.
How do you achieve a real sense of darkness in a game? Maybe it won't work, but let's try it out. Turn off the lights where day meets night and the clock does not strike. Turn off the lights in the room where sound does not reach. Turn off the lights in the room with 2 ceiling lights. What if I hid in darkness? Turn off the corridor lights. Turn off the lights in the room where wishes come true. Now you're all alone, are you not? I'll wait for you in the darkest room.
So, let's see what happens.
This place is so lonely. I missed you so much. Let's play one last time. So, do you know my name?
I'm afraid not. It was me all along. Now what do you think of my WhiteFace imitation? Fell for it? Hope you like this small detour. There's so much things I want to show you. I just need more time though. Now get back to the game's reproduction. You're almost done. See you soon.
This is the Restorer, especially in the questionnaire you get from beating this test build. We don't see much of her aside from this here in the test build, but there is more of her to find. But that would have to wait until the full game remaster released, revealing. Following the full release, you could find Restorer again outside the street in the post-game section. To get out to her, you had to use a file called Drift to change your X coordinate to meet her on the other side of the fence, where she would then tell you to press escape, where she would then tell you to press M and read shore.txt.
Oi, hello. How are you? To begin with, let me make a small exposition dump. It's been a long time since WhiteFace's death. No matter how many times you relive the experience, the curse has been destroyed. And even if you're living it for the first time, see it as if you've lived a time leap. I suppose it's time to introduce myself. You can call me the Restorer. I'm a big IMSCARED fan, and I began this journey with the intention of breaching into its canon. I dug through the files, studied the textures, and dissected the code of the curse's remains. In the end, I decided to change my plans. There's no such thing as text inside of IMSCARED's loneliness, except for the pause menu text. I think it's best for us to talk through the escape menu, so that you won't need to access the folder every time I say something. See you in game!
So, you return to the game.
Can you read this? If so, press E to confirm it. Perfect! So are you curious about my plan? If you're not interested, you can go. Shoo! Go back to being a spectator. If you are curious, then follow me. Now you can move while the game is paused, but you can read me while we walk. This dead world is sad. It's such a waste. Ivan doesn't understand the unexpressed potential that reality holds. Not saying that you can fix this mess with a coat of paint, but you understand me, right? Oh, right. You can't cross this. Silly me. Use the drift file. I'll be waiting in the car park. Don't forget to press escape when you get there.
Doing as she says, you head through, following her directions, through a new section of the car park, and return to the archive.
Here we are. I don't want you to lose a word of what I have to say, so read me out. From now on, press the E key when you're done reading a sentence, okay? Perfect. And now welcome to my archive. Kinda bare, I know. I still need to work it out, but it's just a matter of time. It won't be easy, but with some work, this place will be a perfect replica of the test build's archive. Now let's talk business. Let's talk evil plans. No, wait, before that, I need to ask you something. And beware, choose wisely, for it is irreversible. Just joking. The thing is, what do you want most? To scare or to be scared?
To which the prompt shows up to choose one of the two. The choice deciding if you get a VIP pass or a worker card. To which she briefly discusses for a bit, before we can then hear about her plan.
My plan consists of 3 phases. First phase is to develop a perfect copy of I'm Scared. The goal is to give non-computer players a chance to live the experience. I'm talking about consoles and smartphones. Ivan cannot afford to curse those players' user base. A sentient program that takes possession of your device would violate the terms of agreement. It sounds silly, right? That's why we'll take care of it. I did my homeworks, and I'm sure I can do it. Given how the June build performed well, I'll replicate the entire experience. I'll bring it on those devices. But Restorer, why do you care about consoles? It's all a part of the plan. Let me get to that. With our replica hitting other systems, I'm Scared will gain popularity. That's where we commence phase 2, the attraction. With your help, I'll populate this place with players. I will educate them about this place's secrets. I will guide them through I'm Scared areas to tell them about the curse that once was. I want to be a tour guide. I'm Scared's tour guide. This was the original idea I had, to breach into that story's canon. But then I came out with a plan. And then I came out with phase 3. Sorry, but it's really too soon to talk about that.
She then let you know about how the game would update soon in the future. And when she needed you, she would let you know in the update notes. Before she concluded by saying,
There is one thing I can tell you before I go. You know, there is a way to turn an entity into data. And I found it! I'll fill this loneliness. I'll give players the sequel they're longing for. Let's make this game a profitable entry. See you soon, then.
And then she was gone, leaving you alone in the unfinished archive. Her plan is quite interesting, isn't it? As you can see, the sequel that this video is here to inform you of finally getting its first actual mention. Talk about I'm Scared ports being before that, raising the question of how those would work, I'm sure, along with the strange simplicity of Restorer's plan starting out to just be a simple tour guide. As if I'm Scared is just some sort of zoo or theme park attraction. It's strange. It obviously raises more than a few questions, but for most of those, we don't have answers yet, and the ones we do would come from the next updates. And before we head on to that, we need to backtrack onto something I forgot to mention earlier. That being...
On January 5th, 2022, Restorer26 uploaded her first TikTok video, and then another one a few days later on the 9th. The first one showcased the begin room from I'm Scared, but with all the furniture rearranged, titled I Can Bend It. The second one was titled Took the Train in Broad Daylight, which features the I'm Scared train, as the title says, in daylight. Absolutely groundbreaking stuff here from the Restorer. Look, she even signed her name on the message at the end of the train that reads, Hello Internet. Well, I guess MatPat didn't retire at all, that lying son of a bitch. There would also be a third one published shortly after the release of the test build, which showed Discord messages in the I'm Scared Discord talking about her. The title is her proudly exclaiming, Dad, I'm famous. She's very clearly proud of her popularity. Now, despite I'm Scared's fanbase who's known for investigation, this account would actually only be found by a few people, not really being that well known or widespread.
Until I showed up. 19th of April, 2023. I interview Ivan for the first time. It goes well, aside from taking a while and him getting hungry. Near the end, I ask, do you have any hints or clues about what's next for I'm Scared other than the ports? In as vague a way as to not spoil anything, or even as a riddle people can ponder over while they wait. To which he then answers,
I think you all should start searching for a specific TikTok account.
Not an answer I expected, in all honesty. Shortly after the interview concluded, I shared that over the IMSCARED Discord server, and the search began. But it wouldn't last long, as just after a few short days, it was found. On launch, this update took an entire night for the IMSCARED community to solve. So, let's turn back the clock to when it first released, to see how that went, and what it contained. October 18th. It was easy to see that the archive was more furnished, and a jack-o'-lantern WhiteFace was added by the main door. Pumpkin Face, as the community has dubbed them. Upon exploring a bit more, it was easy to find that the test build door used to get in through the test build had now been unlocked, allowing us to return to the stairs and head up to the roof, where a restorer would then tell you to meet her downstairs.
Can you see that? Do you know what that is? That's the attraction. Would you like to see it? Nah, it's too soon. Sorry.
And after giving VIPs a special token, she said she was
Going to touch some grass now? Time for some fresh air.
before she vanished. This was supposed to cue us in to check out the labyrinth, due to that being a grassy location. But many of us didn't catch on to that at the time, and just happened upon it while we were exploring instead. Upon heading there, the gate to the hedge maze was noticeably open, allowing you to head in, finding it strangely corrupted.
Oh dear. Looks like someone has borrowed the pretty red leaf statue. Who could it have possibly been? Me. It was me.
You may recognise that strange error as looking a lot like part of a YouTube URL, and if you are, you'd be correct! Because if you put that into a YouTube URL, you would be greeted with this video. On the surface, it seems a lot like a normal spooky video for I'm Scared. However, if you put it into a spectrogram, you get a hidden message. An interesting name choice, which we will be discussing later. However, returning back to the game, it was noticed that the portrait in the hallway was missing, and pausing here revealed another message flashing on the screen, which seemingly reveals that Penelope is the name of the lady in the portrait, which is an interesting tidbit we will return to later as well. Everyone at the time in the IMSCARED Discord was discussing the update as they played it at the time, trying to figure out what was what, when a folder in the game's Steam directory was found to have been added, containing a seemingly blank image. But when brightened, we revealed a QR code, taking you to an itch.io page, which required a password. However, no one got the password right at the time, so we returned to the game, and eventually we found Restorer again in the archive.
Say, does all of this bore you? I could see how the situation could be seen as weird and repetitive, but there's very little that can be done with a dead world. I wanted to be more present while moving in last few months, but I feared it could have been just a waste of time for us both. I could be wrong. In any case, I'm almost done. Soon only VIP badge and worker guard holders will have access to this place. Loneliness will turn back as it was in the beginning, and this secret reality of ours will become even more secret. I can hardly wait. As for you all, try not to cheat this time, okay? Hang in there.
And then just like that, she was gone again. And of course, after she said not to cheat, a handful of us considered cheating, which then prompted Ivan himself to show up. Surely a bit disappointed, but still helping somewhat. Doing as he said and using the white.ini file to go to room 23, took us to the house.
Why is the door locked? Why are all the doors locked? Why are all the doors locked?
led to the message 6 had found in the files. Not good, not good, not good, please don't do it, help me, help me, help me, help me, Penelope, help me, help me, help me, help me, help me. Part of it, anyway.
This is not working. It won't stick to this place. I should have turned it to data here. Not in the test build. It can't have a will of its own while we're here.
This seemingly being about what was happening to the figure next to Restorer.
Now, what Mal forgot to mention is that this strange figure has actually appeared before. There was an easy to miss secret in the test build, explaining why the test build is mentioned in that secret message. When heading down the stairs after the final moon, a meow can be heard. Huge win for all the dogs watching at home, because turning around does not reveal a cat, but a strange pale figure again. They come up to you, get up all in your face, and then vanish. Not cool whatsoever. Ever heard of personal space, buddy? He also decides to climb on your shoulders after this, according to a changed line that you can find in the light puzzle file after encountering them. Beware the entity latched to your shoulders.
Focusing back on the blind knight, after a few more hours of trying and failing to figure out the password would end up just being Penelope does not exist. Without any spaces though, the spectrogram did have a couple of spaces, so to play devil's advocate, that's probably why it took a while. On the itch page, we found a handful of locked zip files, along with 2 other files. A data file, along with a text file. The itch page had titles for these files, giving us hints of what to do with them. It took us a little bit to figure out, but doing what it said to do, putting the data file into branch, and putting the text file into the IMSCARED desktop folder, would then allow us to enter the locked room. Oh, did I forget to mention? When Restorer was in front of that door in the archive earlier, she locked it. Now we've unlocked it with the text file. Opening it revealed the pretty red leaf statue Restorer stole from the labyrinth.
Of course not, silly. You should know that by now. This is a game of wait, so keep waiting. Meanwhile, we can play a different little game. One in which you won't be able to see a thing.
Take you to a brand new game essentially, the blind game. This was a pretty unique game, and in all honesty, I wouldn't mind seeing it expanded into its own fully fledged game. Unrelated to IMSCARED. It was pretty hard though if you didn't know what you were doing. And, since quite a few people didn't know what we were doing at the time, and or just didn't have the patience to beat it themselves, it was late at night after all. We got into a Discord livestream together to be able to solve it together, get the passwords, and open the locked files, and witness what was inside together.
Let's see what we got here.
Loading. That's all we get.
Oh,
this
we have
looks
the password to get here, apparently.
It says no.
What?
Holy shit, wait, it's...
Working glass?
It's no.
The archive is in the museum? I mean, the archive is in the snow area?
The archive is in the museum?
There's cold 1, and now cold 2.
Alright, I guess we're gonna be cold.
Downstairs.
Oh my fucking god. It's a corridor. It's a fucking corridor, dude.
One whole corridor.
Oh my
Holy
goodness,
shit.
guys, it's IMSCARED
It's the
too.
thing that Ivan teased on the fucking Twitter that one time with the new lighting.
And now cold 3. And now
Guys.
cold 3.
This is IMSCARED 2. We've got it. We've got IMSCARED 2. It's here.
Whoa.
The mines. We're going into
Did the
the
train?
mines.
Oh, I thought that was like the train that fucking crashed.
We've got. This is Remnants. This must be Remnants. If this isn't Remnants, then I have no clue what it is.
Is that the market?
Is this the market?
It's like the other side of a market wall.
It's a moon!
Moon. Stare at the moon.
Stare into it.
We gotta search for the moons again, guys. Moons part 2.
This has to be Remnants. This has to be Remnants. This has to be Remnants.
This is unironically I'm scared too, yeah. Actually, Remnants.
What's Remnants?
Now then, what is VIP?
Remnants was announced a while ago as an I'm Scared sequel, quote unquote.
These video clips are something for the sequel to IMSCARED that Restorer alluded to earlier, together making an almost teaser trailer for it, somewhat. Unlocking the files and beating the blind game, which I will not spoil the ending to, was a fitting end to this update, and the mini AIG it contained.
I'm pretty bummed I didn't get to experience this at the time. Walking around with no idea where I am is one of my favorite pastimes. It seemed like it really had a nice build up with the community solving it together. It's still pretty cool to learn about though.
Aside from an update post on his website at the end of the year talking about how the year was and alluding to more of the next year with some screenshots, he really didn't have much else to go off of. That is, until... The anniversary of IMSCARED came and went, not much having happened on the iconic day. It would take another week or two for what was meant to happen to finally come to fruition. The mobile port, over 10 years in the making, would finally release on Android. It's quite an impressive port of the game, featuring new meta moments to replace the PC version's file manipulation. I won't spoil any of them though, as I highly recommend playing it yourself to see how much it's like playing the game for the first time. A couple of days following the release of that port, a small update came for the PC version, re-adding some content from previous versions that were included in the mobile port, along with Restorer finally locking off new players being able to meet him in loneliness. We would also receive a letter from her as well.
Hey there, my dearest. How's it going? I finally did what Ivan couldn't do in 10 years! The IMSCARED Android port is out! We need to celebrate! I'm doing great, by the way! But with this many things to do, I couldn't be here for you this time. I hope this letter will suffice. With the Android version done, we're one step closer to the end of Phase 1. We finally have a reproduction of the game that can safely work on any device. So we're not totally done, but we're almost there. Next time, I'm taking you to the attraction, okay? Bye, partner.
However, a few days later, we'd find that another TikTok had been released.
Hey there, partner. How's it going? I'm searching for a certain someone right now. I wonder where he went. By the way, have you found my letter? Did you enjoy IMSCARED on mobile devices? I worked hard on it, so be sure to play it. And if you can't, spread the word, because we need to make it profitable. Link in bio or something. So I was reading through all your opinions about me hiding the post-game content. And frankly speaking, I didn't expect for you to be missing me that much. You do love me after all. That is why I'm thinking of re-adding my interactions with a silent update. I know, I made a big fuss about how we should be sneaky and all that. But some players are trying to access that content in weird ways, so I think it's best for all of us if I just leave things the way they were. Come here, kitty. Give me a day or two. After all, post-game content in 2024 is the standard. IMSCARED is better that way. So hang in there. Your fave girl is working. It's freezing in here. So cold. This place is so dark. But don't worry. This mess won't be part of the attraction. A Christmas present, maybe? Huh. All this snow is driving me nuts. Again, hang in there. Until next time, partner.
And, keeping her word, a few days following that TikTok, another small update would release, re-adding her interactions, but changing them ever so slightly. These changed lines seemingly not meaning much, but still being interesting nonetheless. That, however, as the making of this video, is the latest update IMSCARED has had. There isn't much else to talk about. So now, all we are left with is the question. Well, Remnants is, as the title of the video states, the upcoming sequel to IMSCARED. How do we know its title, you may be asking? Well, if we rewind all the way back to the start of the video, with the IMSCARED 2022 progress thread, there was another, more general update Freddy made to recap how the year went. And all the way at the end of that, we find...
It began with a dream. That dark room, its red dot at the end. So many ideas, so many places. The rampant nostalgia. The fear of ruining everything, but the will to make it even. You'll soon be able to choose your mask. The decimal is near. See you next year.
Now, the idea for Remnant seems to spawn from a dream Ivan had, as hinted to from the quote where he revealed Remnant's name. If I had a nickel for every time a game maker dev ended up making a huge game because of a dream they had, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice.
It's the 3rd time I dream about this weird I'm Scared playable teaser where you visit some new areas. In these dreams, I've seen it all. A farmhouse, a lighthouse on a hill, a revisit of the house section in the original game, and there's a recurring area in these dreams. It feels like something I've experienced in real life. This area looks like an underground hobby room, and it's more of a transition area instead of a level. Nonetheless, it feels so important in the dreams. I'm becoming obsessed with this place. Haunted by those shadows, by that red bright dot at the end of the room, by the fact that it's dark but you can kind of perceive the furniture's outlines. I don't know. It feels really special for it being just a transition room. How do you achieve a real sense of darkness in a game? How do you translate the feeling of orienting by touch without unnerving the player for the wrong reasons? This question is obsessing me as much as the room. It's like these two are unavoidably intertwined. And I love it.
And while we may not know much else about these dreams, we do at least know some of their locations. The last one of which, clearly being the archive. A handful of others can be found as empty, unused maps in the game files. If entered through cheating, they all appear empty. But if you look at the files using Undertale mod tool, yes, that is really its name, I am not joking, I'm deadly serious, then you would see that they all contain the same "you shouldn't be here" sign as not to see. Though they aren't the only places you can find that sign, as there are a handful of other unused maps that you can access that contain it. Most notably, RM_, which looks similar to where Faceless Her appeared, but also seems to be a place seen somewhere else. But we'll come back to that later. The return to the house that was mentioned there could already be something we've gotten to experience, due to how often we've been revisiting that in the past few updates. Now, there are actually a few more quotes from Ivan about those dreams. Here are a few of them connected together.
Yesterday, I dreamt of I'm Scared too. A weird dream, I have to say. There were a lot of new locations I've never thought about, such as a church and a weirdly lit-in bedroom. It's not the first time I dream about an I'm Scared sequel, so yeah, every time it happens I take notes. The last I'm Scared dream was better though. That lighthouse. I like how my I'm Scared 2 dreams are consistent and faithful to the first iteration. WhiteFace is nowhere to be found, and I like that.
This one explains a little bit more about them, in terms of what they contain, most notably being that WhiteFace doesn't show up in them, heavily aligning with how I'm Scared ended and what the story has been saying, thus confirming WhiteFace is dead and will not be coming back. Now let's get back to the screenshots and footage we have of Remnants so far to try and make sense of them. Let's start with the ones in the 2023 recap. The first noteworthy one we see is a connected version of the IMSCARED map in Blender, described as something cursed. What stands out a lot here is the snow on the grass in the street, which is new. I too have ported and connected the IMSCARED map in Blender, and can confirm that is not a weird error from porting it to Blender. It's very much intentional. What else is interesting is that a lot of the areas seen in this are the base game versions, rather than the Loneliness versions. The station maze is there, the flesh hallway leading into Begin is there, no train outside the market, and other notable stuff, yet the extended car park from Loneliness is still there. The rest come at the very end, one showing part of a kid jump scare, looking like the one used in the video Ivan used to announce his Patreon, which I accidentally found early. Oops. Another showing the bottom of the stairs, that door open, leading to what looks like the new area seen in the videos unlocked via the blind game, which segues well into this next screenshot, which is very much the area from those videos, along with Restora's TikTok of her looking for Kid. Another screenshot shows the player looking into the archive through one of the entrance doors, implying along with both the Blender screenshot and some of the footage from the blind game, that there may be some seamless exploration of the map, which would be very impressive, There's also a dark screenshot of a closed door, and lastly, a work in progress area that seems to be some form of a house. Though it is not definitively for Remnants, it being of the other Remnants screenshots does imply it is, as otherwise it'd be the only non-Remnants related thing in that set of screenshots, making it the odd one out. The text alongside these says,
Second half of this year. Gotta wait a bit more.
while this could imply Remnants will release soon, due to the talks of the store's plan still only being in Phase 1, the ports, and the sequel being very much mentioned to be after her plan has passed at least Phase 2, it's unlikely. Unfortunately, there aren't many other screenshots that show us anything new. But now, let's go back to our to answer the question of where else does that area seem to appear? And to find the answer to that, we need to turn back the clock again. Back to before IMSCARED 2022 released. Back before even the thread of its development was started. October 27th, 2020. Ivan releases a game called Krita for game maker Italia's Terror October Jam of that year. It was loosely inspired by the novel House of Leaves. Now this game has a very interesting ending. After getting through the dark, almost maze-like corridors and avoiding the monster, you find a door which leads you to... Begin? If I entered through the exit door, the closet key is missing. The hallway open, despite the closet being closed. Heading through it to the ladder, you instead find a pit, which you fall down.
And with the same clay, I gave you your shape. But you're not here anymore, and I can't do anything but waste some more of it. Why did I do that, though? Your death is my doing, and now that you're not here, I'm the one that feels cold.
What does this ending mean? Was it tied to Remnants? Is Krita somehow some sort of prequel? Personally, I doubt it's literally a prequel. Especially considering it doesn't end in Begin, it ends in... Pretty sure it's more meant to allude to IMSCARED having a return. Which at that point hadn't happened yet. What does that message mean then? Well, at least in one theory, which I had to shout out Sioku from the IMSCARED server for, is that the writer of the message, at least in theory, is a canonical version of Ivan himself. Editor Mel just popping in to clarify, I do not mean literal Ivan. I mean a fictionalized character version of Ivan. Any future reference to Ivan in theories are not about Ivan himself. They're about a fictional character who is a version of Ivan. Just getting that out there. Back to the video. With the same clay I gave you a shape talks about how Ivan either created the game or its monster the same or at least a similar way to IMSCARED or WhiteFace within Game Maker. Possibly even with bits of the same code. But you're not here anymore and I can't do anything but waste more of it. It's about how WhiteFace is gone. And they can't do anything about it. Why did I do that though? Is a quote that Ivan has said numerous times since this. And is possibly Ivan asking why he killed WhiteFace when he could have let him live. He was the first one to end WhiteFace when developing IMSCARED. He could have not done it, but he did. And now, much like WhiteFace in his own room, he too is cold. And there are yet more theories to be had. So to close out, let's theorize some more, shall we? Where shall we start theory-wise? Well, obviously, let's start simple with the pretty obvious. The moon is going to be important in some way. Keeps getting mentioned and showing up. Not just in IMSCARED, but in Ivan's other games too. Potentially implying a somewhat shared continuity. But that specifically is less likely. Lala is Bound's first release features a story where your end goal is to look at the moon. Pretty simple. Aside from the fact that the protagonist can only see through security cameras. That's the basics of that game. I recommend playing it. Another Mind Madness Works game that features the moon is one of his first. One Day the World. I unfortunately can't tell you much about this one's story because I haven't been able to beat it because it's very hard, but you'll have to take my word for it.
Dr. Look, the moon is actually important to that game, but it is not the same as the current dual motif in his new game, so ignore it. Also play Ecstatic Beats, it's very good.
It's even important outside of the games. The video announcing his Patreon being titled Search for the Moon, and one of it is being called Moon Tier. It's pretty clear it's going to be important. How and why though? is currently unknown. We also know Restorer will likely play a huge role, due to how much she's been leaning up to it, and seemingly making/causing it to happen canonically.
Kid is also seemingly going to play a big part, likely being Restorer's attempt to recreate the curse that had WhiteFace in the game. It potentially will take his place as the main enemy, since Restorer seems more like an ally currently. This is despite her forcing herself into the game and messing with the world for her own means. Kid themselves seems like they could be a spirit of a cat due to all the meowing and almost cat-like behavior we've seen from them. It's very possible that Kid could have been Restorer's cat who she turned into Data, either to test if it would work before putting herself in the game or to recreate WhiteFace. I mean, I can't blame Restorer for this though. I too turn my cat into a digital file when I'm bored.
The strange new tunnels we've been seeing seem like they could connect with the entire IMSCARED map, potentially being almost like the Disneyland Utilidors. This potential connection could mean that they may be one of the workers-only locations, which we do know should exist, due to what Restorer said about the cards being used to access special areas, for workers being to access the backstage, and for VIPs it's the attraction's secret areas. Her specifying the attraction for the secret areas for VIPs may mean it'll only be for stuff with that, and not lead to any secrets and remnants, but only time will tell. After all, for all we know the attraction is Remnants. Though I doubt that. I'm sure the attraction will also appear in Remnants. Something I forgot to mention is a small, secret, unused map you can get to if you edit your white.ini location to be Avalon, which is what the test build's white.ini calls the archive when you're in there. Doing this brings you somewhere strange. A broken, almost corrupted version of the archive. It's a grainy visual filter over everything. A lot of stuff is missing. Holes almost forming arrows leading to nowhere. The question is, what is this place? Why is it here? Why does it use the location code from the test build? Well, I believe this ties into another question we should be asking. Why did Restorer need to remake the archive in the first place? Didn't she have the one from the test build? Couldn't she have just used that? It's perfectly fine. Here's a possible answer. A theory. I think this corrupted archive is the test build archive. Or at least, what remains of it. What happened? That I don't know. But something happened to destroy and corrupt it, causing Restorer to need to start over, to make a new archive, clearly being either an important part of her plan, or a place she feels most comfortable in. Who knows? Either way, it seems important, and so does the fact that there's a broken and corrupted version of it. Now here's another, more interesting question. Who is Penelope? We know she doesn't exist, but then why does she have a portrait? And why does that portrait appear in basically every My Madness Works game? Well, while we only solidly learned that her name was Penelope recently, this is nowhere near being the first time we've heard that name. The one common thread with them is that all those games that were planned to feature Penelope get cancelled. Meaning that they don't exist. What do we know about these cancelled Penelopes? Well, one of them was bound to a wheelchair in a cancelled game called Bridge Scene. Now unfortunately for this video, I can't really talk much about the story of that game, due to a lot of the info about it being Patreon exclusive. Editor Mal interrupting here, just to let you know that while editing this, Ivan just released the Patreon exclusive video to the public on his YouTube channel, so if you want to hear more about that Penelope and that entire game in general, just go watch that video. It's great. Highly recommend it. Anyway, back to your regularly scheduled program. The other one we know about is the cancelled second chapter of Nothing Else, which was initially planned to feature an early version of her. The story of this one, at least according to the video Ivan made about it, which you can watch on his channel, was that Penelope was the beloved of the protagonist.
Philippe had to compose the perfect score in memory of his beloved Penelope. With that done, he would get access to the basement. That's where Penelope waited.
The horror would come from the mansion the protagonist was returning to, being sent
to Nothing Else surreal plane. The whole house would have been dragged in this. That's when a monster called Penelope will chase you every now and then. The player needed to hide whenever Penelope gave signs of appearing.
Now what's interesting about this is that this was the early version of her. I wonder if this could have any potential significance if IMSCARED/Remnants Penelope. Guess we'll just wait and see. Anyway, this is all just surface level theorizing. I'm sure anyone could piece this stuff together. I'm sure you want to hear something more interesting, like what the story could contain. perhaps even how it could end. For this, you will need to return to the IMSCARED Discord server and turn back the clock one final time.
It's the 10th of September, 2024. A random server member joins and then jokingly threatens to draw Ivan giving birth to her if he doesn't tell them a secret about the game. That's a weird-ass joke. But aside from that, Mal soon joins the conversation. She jokes that a better idea would actually be showing 5 unrelated disconnected pixels that would show up in Remnants. Surprisingly enough though, despite the context from the first request, Ivan actually responded to both. The secret he reveals being a painting of Icarus with his wings, then shortly after replying to Mal too.
Also, since Mal is cool, I'm thinking about having the number of disconnected pixels, but doubling by a lot the pixel number.
A picture was then sent. It features what seems to be 3 different screenshots combined together, though their size makes it hard to make out exactly what they are. I think I can see a bit of a house, maybe, and then what looks like the lampposts from the hedge maze section, but very, very pixelated. And then the last 1 or 2 bits in this, I can't really see anything at all though. Just looks like wood to me.
The root of this theory comes from the first thing Ivan sent, as the name of the theory implies. So let's delve into that now. And again, I have to thank Sioku for this, because there's no way I could have come up with any of this. Starting with the specific painting, looking into it is discovered to be titled The Lament of Icarus. It shows what happens to be a dead Icarus, who, if you don't know the legend, flew too close to the sun, filled with his own hubris and arrogance, ignoring the warnings. Now, who has been getting more arrogant in recent updates? Who has been potentially ignoring the warnings of messing over a world that isn't hers? That's right, Restorer. But it may go deeper. Let's flash back to Creta, a labyrinth of a monster. Now, while this is stated to be inspired by House of Leaves, it could also tie back into Greek mythology as well, with the monster representing the Minotaur. The legend of Icarus ties to the labyrinth, and while I'm no mythology expert, from what I've been able to see, it also features the use of a shore. Shore being the password used to grant us access to all of Restorer's content in the first place, right from the beginning. But the ties to Greek stuff didn't come from nowhere, as way back when Ivan was more active on his Tumblr, he would answer some questions, a handful revealing there being ties to Greek design all the way back with the 2016 release, with WhiteFace himself being a fan of Greek architecture. It is also possible that if Ivan's role as a creator of the game could represent Daedalus, having created the labyrinth from Creta, the location of the Myth's Labyrinth being an island with a name 1 letter off of the game's title, the Island of Crete, which, while it could seem coincidental due to being 1 letter off, if you look into it, in quite a few other languages, it does become Creta. There is some more stuff here, but if I went into literally every possible thing that would tie these together, I'd probably be here for hours. Now, I will just say, I doubt all of this will happen literally and it will be a 1-to-1 retelling of the Tale of Icarus, because it seems unlikely we'd see the Restorer literally fly up into the sky, get too close to the sun, or the moon more likely due to its important story so far, and die that way. I do however think it seems very plausible that she may get in over her head, her hubris resulting in her demise, whether that's from the moon, the sinister harmonies if those are more than just a fun way of having the initials of the shore, or if perhaps she'll be killed by her own creation, Kid. I suppose only time will really tell.
But hey, you know what? Remnants may be temporary, but my crypto pyramid scheme advice tutorials are forever.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Once again, huge thanks to Tobab for taking the time to take part in this video. This video kind of serves like a spiritual sequel to their IMSCARED video, considering that video ended at the start of this post-game content. If you haven't, go check out his channel. He makes great videos. He also happens to be a very good singer. Anyway, I should... Sorry, my phone's ringing. Hello? Yeah? Yeah, huh? What did Uh-huh. Okay. Sorry, gotta go. Thanks for watching. See you later.
And that's about it from me. Now, if you'll excuse me, I gotta get out of here before this verified bumpkin fella comes and gets me. He'll make me play SpongeBob Slendy Pants if he catches me. Okay, kinda weird, but did you know Slendy Pants actually had sequels? I had no clue about that until recently, so that's kinda cool. Oh wait. Uh-oh.